Well, I am in the truck on the way to somewhere. I don't guess I need to put that on the interwebs, but I'm on my way out of town a few hours, to do the NRA Law Enforcement Firearms Instructor course for Tactical Shooting Instructor. This has been the course. I have to maintain that certification, not tactical shooting specifically, but I have to maintain law enforcement level firearms instructor certifications for handgun, shotgun, and patrol rifle for my 9-to-5 job. And so every few years you got to go back and renew these things. And so I've done handgun, I've done shotgun, I've done patrol rifle. This is the course that I've been looking forward to. It's about a 2,000 round course, just shy of that. And it involves a duty sidearm, a backup firearm, and then a rifle or carbine. And because they allow you to use a pistol caliber carbine, I am taking my CMMG MKGS Guard 9mm. It's actually a pistol, but I'm going to run it as a carbine. I've got my Glock 43 with the in-motion tactical slide cuts and custom frame, Johnny Glock's trigger, a stubby micro comp from Texas Black Rifle Company that I cut off the first port and made it stubbier, if you will. It's not really their stubby comp for a 43. It's just one that I sort of fashioned out of their standard 43 comp. And then I'm running my RTF framed Brownell slide Glock 17 that's running the TC BRI stubby comp for the full size Glock. And it's also running a Johnny Glock's trigger, if I didn't mention that. The CMMG Guard is fairly stock in its components. I've got, hand stops and aftermarket pins, and I'm running a Mod 2 tail hook on a Law side folding stock adapter, and I'm running a James Madison Tactical Saber trigger in it, which is a really nice trigger, especially for the money. On that.
In half a mile, bear right to merge onto I-459 North.
Thank you, OnStar. Shout out to OnStar. Those guys are awesome. Oops, I'm about to go the wrong direction. Anyway, so it's a really cool course, the Tactical Shooting Instructor course.
Bear right to merge onto.
The Tactical Shooting Instructor course is, like I said, the one I've really been looking forward to. It's going to be a really fun course, because it ties in concealed carry and then the same sort of transition type stuff that you would use with a duty handgun and a rifle or carbine that, the patrol rifle instructor course ties in. But this one is supposed to be one of the more difficult. I use that word, relatively speaking. I haven't found the NRA courses to be all that difficult. But I have a lot of trigger time with small arms, obviously with military and in my current job. So I've normally performed really well in these classes, and this is the one that I expect to see the highest level of competition, if you will. It's not a competition, but everything's a competition, right? So it's the highest level of competition probably that I'll have seen. The patrol rifle instructor course was pretty good to go. There was a lot of SWAT guys in there in that class, and so it was fun to kind of run and gun beside them. And here's the interesting thing about these law enforcement firearms instructor courses. Now, I don't say this to begrudge law enforcement. Anybody that's stuck around my channel or knows me personally knows that I'm a supporter of law enforcement. But when you're one of the guys from the private sector, I work for a security company. Whenever these things start, the first day, especially before we get on the range, everybody's like going around the room introducing themselves, and they'll have your little placard on the table in the classroom, and they're like, "Oh, my name's Lieutenant Smith. I'm with Miami SWAT, or I'm, Sergeant Dan with, NYPD or whatever." These are guys that they're not just cops, but these are the cops that are doing the training for their department typically, and they're usually pretty high-speed guys. I mean, I've never seen anyone struggle at one of these courses. These are all people with lots of experience and know how to run a gun and know how to run it in a combative setting. But the patrol rifle was probably a little bit higher caliber of shooter than especially the handgun, but even the shotgun. And so I expect the Tactical Shooting Instructor course to be the highest caliber of shooters thus far, because there isn't it's not necessarily a certification that someone would need for a department. It doesn't certify you on a specific weapon system. This is all for instructor development in terms of building really in-depth courses. And so I'm really excited about, you know, being able to push my skill set against some guys and gals potentially that are really good at what they do and learn. I always learn something from these classes. And typically feel like I've brought something to the table in these classes as well. So what I'm going to do, I didn't bring the 4K camera because I know me, and I'd probably find some way of breaking it, and I've got enough stuff to keep with me as it is. But what I am going to do is sort of every day, probably when I get back to the hotel room, I'm going to do a quick 5-minute, 10-minute max video, depending on if I have enough to talk about. Just about that day's activity. I'm not going to go in detail necessarily about what we did. That's probably a little boring to most of you out there, but I'll cover it in general. But just kind of my thoughts on it, and sort of just do a vlog, if you will, for this whole week. It's a 5-day course that starts tomorrow, goes through Friday. So I'll just kind of vlog every day when I get back to the hotel room, so you guys can kind of just come along on the ride with me. I'm not sure how much I'll get to video or during the class. These things typically run pretty quick, and but if I have a chance to shoot a couple of quick videos of other people running whatever courses they're doing. Typically how these things go is, these are instructor level courses. They're not here to teach us how to shoot. We're supposed to know how to shoot if we're going to an instructor course. It's really instructor development. There isn't a specific instructor development module in this class. Whenever the NRA law enforcement training group talks about instructor development, they're talking about classes that cover methodology of instruction, public speaking, that kind of thing. That there isn't a module in this course I don't think that's about instructor development. It's about laying out courses of fire for your agency or department, or for me, my firm. And so it'll be really interesting to kind of get some of that 3D hands-on information, and maybe come away with some ideas on how to set up some courses, not only for work obviously, but for warrior works as well. And what they'll do is usually you break off in groups at some point in the course, and you have to design a course of fire that you then run through yourself, demonstrate it, and then everybody else, all the other groups, have to go through it. So and you kind of coach them through that and give feedback based on their performance. So obviously when I'm running the course that I'm running, that everybody else has set up, or when I'm demonstrating the course that I'll design, I won't be able to videotape that, but I will try to videotape maybe a group or two going through the courses that I set up, and I think that might be interesting, and I'll tack that stuff on to the vlogs, for that day's activity. So anyway, I'm gonna post this up when I get to the hotel room tonight, just so you guys can be looking out for it. And this is something I don't say very often on my videos, but I do appreciate your viewership. And for those of you that understand YouTube, this will be no surprise. You hear people say this kind of stuff all the time, but if you like the video, take the 3 seconds out of your life to click like. It helps me by the more comments and likes and views, obviously, that you get on a video, the higher it pops up in the search. It's not the only thing that matters, but it's the higher it pops up in the search results for people that are searching for things that are germane to the topicology of the video. Now, there's a whole lot of other stuff that goes into it, and I just, honestly, I'm sorry, I don't care enough about the SEC stuff to like dig into keywords and like, oh man, I don't spend as much time researching keywords and doing all that kind of stuff, and the file names and all that. I probably should, but this is not how I make YouTube. I'm not even monetized. It's not how I make my living. It's just something. It's really, I'm trying to give back to the YouTube community that I've drawn a lot from, and also, I've made good money with my business and warrior works, based off people who have found me on YouTube. I mean, I have regular students that live 3 states away from me, and I don't even market warrior works really anywhere other than kind of on Facebook and on YouTube. So with that also being said, this is getting dangerously close to probably a 10-minute video at this point. I'm not really looking at the camera. I'm driving. But with that being said, find me. Find me on YouTube. If you found me on YouTube, you're watching this. Find me on Facebook. Just Warrior Works Training on Facebook. You should know what my logo looks like if you follow me on YouTube. So and find me on Facebook like my Facebook page, follow my Facebook page, whatever all that stuff is. I don't really have a Twitter or anything like that. I don't snap face and chap knots and make space face and all that. I do YouTube and I do Facebook. And maybe I'll expand at some point. But for now, these are the two platforms I have. So if I get sniped by YouTube, which I don't think is going to happen, because nothing really in my videos is going to be not in accordance with their supposed new rules. But if you do appreciate my videos, and I have some great subscribers that contact me all the time, and we have a lot of dialogue, and that's great. That's what I really like about my channel. I try to dialogue with you guys. I want to give you something. This is a waste of time if you aren't learning anything. Okay, I speak publicly for a living. I'm in classes, at least teaching classes, for 24, if not more, hours a week. So I don't need this to scratch some public speaking itch. I get that every day almost at work. I go all over the country, especially in the Southeast, teaching classes. So I'm only doing this if you get something out of it. So please have dialogue, do all that stuff. Communicate with me. I promise I'll communicate back. When I ask you for topics that you want to hear about, I mean that sincerely. I try to answer questions in depth. I mean, I've drawn pictures and text them to people that are YouTube subscribers to try to help illustrate some points from a video. So please engage that way. Engage on Facebook. So if I were to get sniped by some new YouTube rule or something, you guys will be able to keep up with me and what's going on. And I would just roll everything over that I normally do to YouTube to my Facebook channel. So anyway, this has gotten too long, so I will leave it here for that. Leave it at that for now, and just stay tuned throughout the rest of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Look for updates to my channel, just as a vlog to cover this process. Once again, like, subscribe, share, comment. Go to Facebook, find me there, and please have some back and forth with me. I really enjoy that. I'm a teacher by heart. That's my passion, and I really want to give you something if I can. So ask questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. And we'll see y'all around the bend.